You're listening to part 4 of Academy FM's Grassroots project, funded by the Folkestone Fund through the Kent Community Foundation. The project takes young people from Folkestone who are either in education or unemployed and shows them some of the environments around Folkestone. For our final trip, we visited a dairy farm, went for a walk in the Elham Valley and went fossil hunting in an ancient chalk pit. We started off at Ottinge Farm, which is a dairy farm run by a man called Jerry. Dave from Academy FM was our guide, and he gave us an introduction to the farm.
OK, we are now at Ottinge Court Farm with Jerry, the farmer. Now, Ottinge Court Farm is a little bit different to some other farms in that they do some quite exciting stuff. They've got quite a well-known dairy herd here, I'm led to believe. And they actually make their own cheese and sell their own cheese and milk. They've got their own little farm shop. And that's pretty unusual. They're not just one of these farms that make stuff and then it ends up on a supermarket shelf. They actually sell it themselves. And we're joined by Jerry the farmer, who is going to show us around. So could you tell us a little bit about the farm and what you do here?
Yeah, the farm was bought by my grandfather after the First World War, so we've been here since 1921. So we're not far off our century, but I'm not as old as that. As things have changed, we've had to become more specialised, and we are virtually now a specialised dairy farm. And our whole farming year is designed around growing food for the cows, both during the summer, which is relatively easy because they can graze the grass, and then storing enough food to last us through the winter. So that's the sort of basis of the farm. And what we can do now is we can sort of take a walk up the farm and have a look at the cows and discuss the different ways we set about achieving this.
The first thing we noticed about the farm was the smell, and there was cow poo everywhere.
It's cow poo, you just said.
That wasn't fair, was it?
This is cow poo?
Yes, and it's, you know, cows are not house trained as in dogs. We've got some pigs, and they're quite well organised. Do not, when you come across one of these wires, please do not touch it.
Is it electric?
It's electrified, yes, for the cattle.
I'll be getting well away from that.
Exactly. That's why you'll do exactly what I do and just squeeze through the gap like that. Okay.
We looked around the farmyard, then started walking up a concrete road leading to the fields. Jerry told us how to act when we were near the cows.
Will the cows attack us?
No.
Are we allowed to stroke them?
If we want to stand as a group and the cows want to come up to us, then and that's fine. But no, you mustn't go and make the first move to them. If you're just quiet with animals, okay, and they'll respond to it. But if you start using sort of quick movements and loud noises and bits and pieces, then they'll react. Okay, so now we're going up the cow track. Now, part of our job is to milk the cows, and they're milked twice a day, which means that the whole group of cows have got to come back from the fields to the milking parlour, be milked, and then taken back to the fields afterwards, and that happens twice a day. Now, what do you think of the summer so far? Has it been a dry summer, a wet summer?
It's been quite wet.
It's been quite wet. Anybody else got any views on what sort of summer we've had so far?
Very wet.
Very wet?
No, quite dry.
Quite dry? April was the wettest April for 100 years. Okay, May is getting up there as a record breaker, okay, for rain. Now, if you walk cows up and down the same bit of ground twice a day, everything turns to mud. And so that's why we have to have a concrete roadway to get the cows to and from the fields, okay?
The cows were sitting in a field called a paddock, surrounded by an electric fence. Although the fence was only a piece of wire held up by sticks, the cows didn't touch it because they knew they would get a shock. We asked Jerry why they were kept in one field rather than being allowed anywhere on the farm.
As I said to you back at the farm, the cows during the summer, we try and get them to eat as much grass as possible. Now, they need to have fresh grass on a daily basis, and it needs to be, as near as possible, all of the same quality. So what we have to do is we have to get the cows to graze around daily blocks, which we call paddocks. And what we're always trying to do is to keep the grass at the right growth stage. Now, the grass on our right-hand side here, okay, is just coming up to the ideal height and maturity for the cows to go in and have. And you can see that there's a fence around this block, which we call the paddock, and they will have that and harvest that in one 24-hour period. Okay?
When we arrived at the paddock with the cows in, Jerry took us into the paddock and the cows slowly came towards us to have a look. They were very big.
Just stay still, and if somebody wants to come alongside me, that's fine. Okay?
They've got huge tongues.
Yeah, they're about that long.
Okay.
It won't bite. It won't bite. It'll lick, and you'll have a very rough tongue. It's very important. These cows, the same way that if I was to stand right up to you, you've moved away.
Sorry.
Okay? They have their own space, and it's in. You just want to stay. Don't hold your hand out. Let them. No, just let them come.
I think I spooked that one a little bit because it licked me and I didn't know what was happening and I pulled back quickly.
Okay, so this is a good sign. If you were to go into a field, what you've got is you've got the cows of something's different. Okay, so what they're doing is they're getting up and they're coming to investigate. That is a really good sign of cows which are well looked after, and they're not put under any stress by the people keeping them and anything, and they're inquisitive. Okay, if you went into a field and the first thing is they would get up and go the other way, then that's a pretty good idea of how well the animals are being looked after.
Are they all female?
Yes.
Has that one got horns or is that...
That's nothing to do with the sex, that's to do with the breed.
All right.
Okay, but we take off the horns. We have to, because obviously if you can imagine this number of cows and you see how they interact like that, you would have injuries left, right and centre.
All right, so what breed are these?
These are Holstein Friesians.
Okay. They're all lining up, side by side.
What are you doing? Just you're an animal.
Observing. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Looking at their nails, are they like humans? Do you have to help them with cutting them?
That actually is a really good question. Because their feet grow at about 5 millimetres a month. Okay, so if nature didn't have a way of wearing it down, it would become out of control, and so.
Is that also why you put them on concrete?
The concrete helps. The concrete helps, yes. To wear it down. It's a credit to you guys because you're just standing here quietly, okay? And the cows have come. You probably won't be able to make that step towards them. That's why you've got to wait for them to come to you. If you did that, I'm afraid you would probably push them away and then you wouldn't get close to them again. But it's a credit to you that they've all come up here and are getting this close because they have their own space around them which they don't like anybody going into unless they feel comfortable. So they're feeling really quite comfortable now.
Okay.
No, you can stay there.
No, that one.
Normally, the only
Ben, you've nearly been licked about 6 times now.
The cows... I have a wet trouser now.
I'll probably end up getting licked in the mouth.
Luckily, he didn't end up getting licked in the mouth. The cows all had tags on their ears, with writing on. We asked Jerry if these were their names.
They've all got names. So over the years, we've got the family names. So there's family names. So Dewdrop, if you look at... Hang on, carefully, let me just have a look. Okay. Right. If you look at the tag, okay, the first numbers printed into the tag at the top are the EU number. All right, the number below that, so in this one, it's 103, and 103 is out here somewhere, and she's the mother of this one, okay? Then and they're part of the Dewdrop family, and she's the 44th member of the Dewdrop family, okay? And then the name on the bottom is the name of her father.
What's that?
Shaker.
We spent some time with the cows. When they got used to us, we could stroke their heads, but they never threatened us. We then went back down the farm to a barn with lots of wooden pens filled with sand, which is where the cows sleep in winter. Also in the barn was a big area where the cows could walk around. It was quite smelly.
Will not hurt you.
Smells like cider.
What would hurt you?
It smells like cider.
Yeah, just a bit.
Okay, so this is a little hub of the farm, and this is where the milking cows spend the winter. So yeah, I'll just talk you through it just so that you can understand it. So at the moment, the building with the windows in and the yard behind it, that's called the collecting yard and that's called the milking parlour. And I can just show you briefly in there on your way past. So at the moment, the cows are coming in twice a day. They have a little bit of extra food so that we get their nutrients balanced, the energy and the protein and the vitamins and minerals. And then they go into the collecting yard and we milk them. Then they go back out to grass to graze. In the winter, slightly different. They have all this area which is gated in on concrete as an exercise area. And to lie down, they have what's called sand cubicles. Okay? So that's rather like lying in the long jump pit. Okay? Which is nice and soft, isn't it? You can get in there or on the beach. It's really quite comfortable.
Next to the barn was a milking parlour. It was very clean compared to the barn and had loads of pipes and equipment for milking the cows and dealing with the milk.
Okay, this is the milking parlour. Okay? And the cows go into the collecting yard, which is at the far end. The gates come up one side at a time, and the cows will actually walk in on their own. They won't need us to go out. They're trained or accustomed to doing it. So what happens is the cow will then be standing here with its backside towards me, with the other obviously between her back legs. Okay? We then clean the udder, okay, to make sure there's no dirt on it, and then we check the milk quality. If the milk quality is good and looks normal, we then attach the milking machine. Right? The milk goes up the pipe into the milk meter, which is behind me, and on the back side of this box it records the number of litres of milk the cow has produced that milking. Alright? The milk comes down this big stainless steel pipe, so you've got 10 cows milking at one time, comes down the stainless steel pipe into here. When this gets to a certain height, the sensors then transfer the milk using this pump into the bulk tank next door, where it is cooled down to 3 degrees.
Do the cows ever, when you're milking them, do they ever get their foot and kick back at you?
Basically, I'm still here after all these years, and I've got all my hands and all my fingers and all the bits and pieces. No, you've seen those cows, and if you make it a pleasurable experience, okay, they're not going to say, I don't want to go in there. If you make it a horrid experience, they're going to stand back and not want to come in.
The milk that they sell in the shop at Ottinge Court Farm is unpasteurised. This means it hasn't been heat treated. It doesn't keep as well as pasteurised milk you buy in a supermarket, but there are many advantages.
When you go to the shop and you get your milk, whether it's a supermarket or wherever you get it, sorry?
Tastes the same.
This tastes better.
Huh? It was exactly the same thing as in the
No, it's not. No, because this is unpasteurised milk. So, okay, all the flavours are still there. As soon as you treat it with heat, you destroy a lot of the flavours.
Do people buy milk from here?
Yes, from the shop.
How much?
50p a pint.
There's only apparently 100 of us licensed in the country to sell unpasteurised milk. Okay. But I cannot stress enough that you've seen the cows. We've got to put up with mud and weather and bits and pieces, and we've got to put up with the cows' feces and all the dung and all the urine and everything. But when we come into here, we have to harvest milk, which you would be quite happy to drink. Okay, and so cleanliness is of absolute paramount importance, and so we spend a lot of time cleaning the udders and checking the milk is of good marketable quality before we even harvest it, and then everything is washed and sterilised afterwards. It takes us about half the amount of time it takes to milk the cows again at the end, just to clear up.
After our look in the milking parlour, we say goodbye to Jerry and get ready for our walk up the Elham Valley Way. Using the map, we navigate to the footpath that takes us up to Elham. We crossed the road and found the path marked by a yellow sign, exactly as the footpath had been on our first walk. There was another similarity. On our previous trip, we had walked up part of the old Elham Valley railway line that used to run between Folkestone and Canterbury, and this path was also on the railway route. We saw an old railway bridge and walked along a stream called the Nailbourne. Bourne is an ancient name for a stream that only flows part of the year. It was flowing when we walked past it though, due to heavy rain this year. We walked past a water pump station that extracts water from the Bourne. It pumps it back to Folkestone, where it goes into a reservoir by Castle Hill. We then got to the village of Elham, which was very pretty, although the weather was starting to turn for the worst.
We're at the King's Arm pub in Elham. I personally just had sandwiches because I don't quite like the Dorito chips, but I did have some of the salads and bananas, but it was nice.
How many sandwiches did you have?
Oh,
Remember, didn't I have 3 bags?
I had 10 slices altogether.
And what did you have, Harry?
Chips. And as you can hear, we can hear thunder now.
We are going to go down a street called Duck Street. And if you remember from last week when we were in the Elham Valley Railway line, we are going to be walking down to past where the Elham station was on that line, and then up the hill to the beginning of the Downs, where we're going to find some fossils.
Hey.
Is this my bottle?
Nope, it's... Will there definitely be some fossils up
Did
there?
they take my bottle away?
There's going to be some fossils up there.
Can we take them?
There are prizes for people who find fossils.
Helen, I personally think I should have.
We walked over the old railway track next to where the Elham railway station used to be. There's now a row of houses there. Our destination was a chalk pit, which was a quarry for chalk in the hills. Our guide, Helen, lives near there and was an expert in looking for ancient fossils in the chalk pit.
Right,
Car.
everybody in, car! So this used to be a brick field.
This is a really nice country land.
It is. And there's a crater up here where the Spitfire crashed.
Is there
During
any
the bit
diggings up there with what we can look? Do you think we'll find any shrapnel?
You probably could. I think you might have to dig quite a bit now. Tell me what it says on this sign.
Elham chalk pit.
There we go.
So there's definitely chalk.
There's definitely chalk.
Oh look, middle chalk fossils.
Read what it says.
In the chalk pits, fossils can be found. Chalk was dug here to burn in kilns to make lime for local buildings.
Come on, guys! Right, so I think you get a bag of sweets for getting up here first. The chalk pit is just in there, so we're just going to go in there. First one.
Oh my god.
First one to find a fossil.
What do you mean a fossil?
Oh my god.
An imprint of an organism, so a shell or something like that.
Oh,
in
yeah,
there.
yeah, we do it in science.
Yeah. First one to find a fossil gets a bag of sweets. They're in the rocks. You have to look through the rocks to see.
There were literally thousands of lumps of chalk rock on the floor of the chalk pit. Helen showed us how to look through them to find fossils.
Have you got one there?
I've got a slight imprint of something.
So we've got our first fossil here. If anybody wants to come over here and have a look and see what you're looking for.
Look, engraved there.
Oh, nice one. Now this is a really nice one over here that Harry's found. Describe it for us, Harry.
It's engraved into a chalky rock, so I'm just trying to get out at the moment.
What does it look like?
It looks like one of them little seashells. You know, like the chocolate ones. It's like one of them. But I hope the chalk comes off my shoes.
You see all of those lines of the shell there? That's going to be quite a big bit of shell. So
that
the
in
other
there?
bit of rock. Oh, and there's one here as well. So the other bit of rock that sat on that
I
bit
think
there.
they would actually be higher up.
No, they're going to be in all these bits. Look, there's one here.
Yeah.
And there's
maybe
one
in
there.
here.
So you found one yet, Colin? No. Oh. Who's found a fossil?
Yeah, no.
Great. Oh, that's nice.
Is it shells of some sort?
It is. Hang on, let's take both of those. Have you got one?
No, it's round us up there.
Oh, you've got...
We spent a long time in the quarry and most of us found a fossil of 2. It was the first time we've done anything like this before. Overall, we had a great time visiting Ottinge Court Farm, going on another walk and looking for fossils. We'd like to thank Academy FM for running the project, and the Overstone Fund and the Kent Community Foundation for funding it. Without their help, it could never have happened.
Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm from Folkestone and I'm 13 years old. Today has actually been really fun. Not something a teenager like me would do, but it was actually fun.
And what was the best bit?
Oh, when the cow was coming towards me, and then when everyone went near that cow, the cow ran away, but then it would come back towards me, and I felt special.
Those cows were pretty amazing, weren't they? They got really big eyes.
Yeah, just like me.
You're saying you look like a cow?
No, I'm saying I've got some features like it. People say I'm moody and stressy, but I do have beautiful big brown eyes. I'm joking.
Fantastic. What was the worst bit about today?
Just the smell of cow manure wafting up your nose, hanging off your nose hair, like playing around with plaiting your nose hairs with the smell, and it's disgusting.
Told ya.
Do you have an appreciation of how? Do you have an appreciation of how our food gets from sort of field to table now?
Yeah, I think of it much more better now because farmers I used to think would just put on their wellies and body warmers and just go out and feed the animals and pick up some crops. But no, they do loads of stuff. I just thought they'd pull tomatoes, put it in a bucket, put it into a machine that just does it into cheese or something. But no, it goes through a lot.
My name's Deanna and I live in Folkestone.
Right, so what have you thought of today?
It was okay.
What was the best bit?
Going to see the pigs.
Okay then, what was the worst bit?
Watching a cow do 3 wheeze in the space of around about 5 minutes.
Yeah, should we go in the church?
My name is Eve. I'm 13 years old. Come from Folkestone, Kent.
And what has been the best bit about today?
Looking at the cows actually licked me. Bless them.
What did that feel like?
A lot of rough, a lot of Velcro. I felt like grabbing it.
How big were the tongues?
They were big, really big. And they look black. Black tongues. I was like, no, that's not right.
I'm Colin Sawyer, 18 years old. It's a good day, it was. Yeah.
What's the best bit about today?
Oh, about the milk at the farm, that cow farm. It's really good. It's really interesting how they do it and the prices of them, about the farmers and that.
Did you think that's how you got milk?
I didn't know how to do it, but I know it's come from a cow, but obviously. But
what other things have you learnt today?
About fossils, I think. Where the fossils are and inside the rocks. Very interesting.
I'm Ben, I'm 14 and I come from the Folkestone Academy.
And what has been the best bit about today?
Going to the dairy farm and the big chalk hill and trying to find fossils.
Cool. And did you find any?
Yeah, I've got one in my pocket. It's like a shell.
So if we were to do this sort of thing again, what would you want to see next time?
Visiting places.